We highlighted March 28th as the important day for Abdul Carter, his pro day in Happy Valley over at Penn State. We get the word one day before that Carter is not going to work out tomorrow. Naturally, there's thoughts. We'll discuss them. Browns 3D begins now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things downtown Browns 3D on the OBR, brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate everybody for all the support here over the last couple of months as we maneuvered our way out of a dreadful 2024 season to all the hope and promise of this 2025 season. And for right now, I can understand where most of you sit as far as your frustrations with this franchise. But keep reading the written content. It's been a monster month here of the OBR. We're certainly thankful for all of you and obviously the streaming network. Come on out every night, starting here with Browns 3D at 6 o'clock. You'll have All Eyes on Cleveland afterwards. All the other shows, you're getting 2 to 3 shows a night. We appreciate everybody. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. And, of course, subscribe to the OBR over on Twitch. March 28th. You've heard me say this date many, many times in the past couple of months here. Penn State Pro Day. And, obviously, this picked up with anticipation once the Combine ruled that there was some sort of stress reaction in the foot of Abdul Carter. The first initial words were possible surgery. And then as that news broke late at night the next morning, was maybe it was not as severe as once thought. And at the time, there was nothing hindering Abdul Carter from being able to participate in the Penn State Pro Day again, March 28th. We get the word today, March 27th, that Abdul Carter is not going to be working out at the Pro Day at Penn State tomorrow. He will be there. He will meet. He will be measured. I'm pretty sure he was measured 6'3", 252. So as far as the measurements, maybe they're saying that Abdul Carter was not measured in any other way, which I do believe that's the case, because I do believe all we have for Abdul Carter to this point was a height of 6'3" and a weight of 252. Now, as far as the not working out, they seem to have mentioned the shoulder, not necessarily so much anything in relation to the foot. So I don't know how to take that. And we'll know more, certainly, anybody flagged, and you guys have heard me say this before, anybody flagged at the Combine with some sort of medical does go back to Indianapolis before the draft and basically runs through the tests again with the one doctor who is going to perform this, and then provides the report to all 32 teams for any player who is there for a recheck. Again, as far as the not working out, there certainly are several factors here. And look, I said this, Abdul Carter is represented by Drew Rosenhaus, certainly one of the top, if not the top, in the game of representing NFL athletes. There is a little bit of a trend starting in regards to some of these prospects just not working out, ever. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not work out last year. It did not affect him. Granted, there were no medical concerns in relation to Marv Jr. Ashton Jeanty just completed his pro day with Boise State. Ashton Jeanty did nothing but drills. He will go into the draft not having a recorded 40 time. Again, no injury concern with Mr. Ashton Jeanty. So it could be they just don't feel they need to work out. His tape could speak for itself. Is that fair? Yeah, I think it's fair. But it's going to take a long time before a lot of us are just okay just by going by tape. We'd like to have those numbers. It is what makes for a complete profile. And I've talked about this for years, and Pete Smith and I, these things we use and we always have as far as evaluation. Tape is huge. What kind of athlete are you is huge. How old are you is huge. You want all of these factors. You want all of this knowledge. So you put yourself in a position to make the best educated guess on who your players should be. Is he not working out because he has assurances? You hear and you have heard big time national football people, draft people within the last couple of weeks tell you that there is legitimate interest between Abdul Carter and the Cleveland Browns at number 2. If both quarterbacks went 1-2, there would be legit interest in the New York Giants and Abdul Carter. You've heard people say the New England Patriots, who select 4th, would have high interest in Abdul Carter. Does he know what his floor is? Does he know that, I'm going top 4, I'm going top 5 at worst? Could be yet another reason he is not working out. I don't know, and we don't have any description of what the shoulder injury was. Is it hindering from some things right now? Is he unable to lift, which would mean he wouldn't be doing the 225 how many times he can? He's not going to do a bench press. Is it something that could be hindering him in any type of training? How much is he training? These videos go up all the time for these guys through their Instagram accounts, this, that, and the other thing. I'm not sure if there's much out there right now of Abdul Carter working out in any way whatsoever. Could it also be they are choosing not to work out on March 28th and saying there is a chance we still may work out in April because they want to get the recheck done from the NFL doctor? There's a lot of factors here. Does this murky the water a little bit? For those of you who do not want Abdul Carter and are set in stone on quarterback, I can understand you dropping him, yes. Me, am I off Abdul Carter at 2? No. Not, but I'm not going to lie and say the appeal is not as big as I thought it was. This is somewhat of a concern. Again, it's really, really tough just the way this situation is working out. Incredibly special talent. A lot of it is the belief of how good he is, newness to the edge position, and all the athletic gifts that he has could lead to more growth, as his career would go on. One important factor here in regards to Abdul Carter is he has not missed a game yet at Penn State. So, to use the banged up, the red flags for injuries, there are a lot of players currently in the NFL here in March right now who are rehabbing their way through something or working through the final steps of a surgery after the season. It's not unnormal for a player to still be dinged up in March. He did play 16 football games last year. So it's not completely out of the, sense of normalness that Abdul Carter is dealing with something, but with the possibility of being taken number 2 overall 4 weeks from today, and you don't yet know what's going on with the foot. He's still dealing with a bit of a shoulder injury that didn't cause him to miss time 2 months ago, a little more than 2 months ago. So, yeah, for me, for those of you who would rather just go quarterback, that probably makes your case easier. For me, I'm not jumping off of this wagon yet. I think Abdul Carter is going to be a sensational NFL talent. But do I want some answers? Do I need something a little bit more concrete? I do. And it's not necessarily that I need testing numbers. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way Abdul Carter does not run in the 4.4s. He is every bit of 6'3", 252. And the folks who try to tell me that he is undersized, he comes in to the NFL one complete year younger than Von Miller, taller and heavier. He is going to put in more time in the weight room. So people, well, you know, he really plays about 246, 245. He's only going to get bigger. He's 21. He will probably legitimately play maybe by year 2 in the 260 range. So 6'3", 260, runs a 4.4. Now, guys, I'm not that concerned from that aspect. But am I a little more concerned today than I was yesterday? Yeah. And, you know, I'd be BSing you if I wasn't, right? I told you all how great I think this guy is. I also told you all how important March 28th was and getting to see him do something in some fashion. Well, we're here, and yet we're still not getting any answers. But we have plenty more to get to, and we will continue. I appreciate everybody joining us here for Browns 3D. I'm excited to talk about our now partner for a couple of months now, State Sharpening, mower sales and service in Broadview Heights. If you are local to the Cleveland area, they are your one-stop shop for all things lawn equipment. Is there anything worse than missing the Browns game because you've got lawn work to do? State has the best lineup of Cub Cadet mowers to cut your mowing time down, as well as genuine parts and expert factory-trained technicians to get your existing mower back into peak shape. Whether you're in the market for the state-of-the-art Ultima Zero Turn or the top dog Enduro Series tractor, let State Sharpening and Cub Cadet help you keep your weekend yours. Veteran-owned, the Kane family are lifetime Clevelanders, lifetime Browns fans, and proud supporters of us here at the OBR. Again, if you are local to Cleveland, State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service in Broadview Heights is your hometown team for all your lawn equipment needs. All their info is at statesharp.com. That is STATESHARP.com. Jeff Lloyd, we're continuing here, Browns 3D. We appreciate everybody for all the support for the written content here at the OBR, and of course, joining us nightly for the streaming network here on YouTube through the OBR channel, and of course on the OBR channel over on Twitch. So one thing I was worried about in regards to Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter is now a position that we are kind of in. And certainly, you know, can further the discussions of what is the best avenue for the Cleveland Browns at number 2 overall. So, you know, this is not where I wanted to be. I was just hoping we were going to hear that Abdul Carter in somehow, some way, was just able to do some things at Penn State Pro Day on March 28th. But now that rug has been pulled from underneath us. And the waiting game continues with being told there is a possibility he could work out for scouts in April. And there's a litany of questions that come from what is the exact reason that he's not working out. You know, certainly the shoulder is one of the reasons we're being given. You think about the foot. You think about the possibility they feel maybe they don't have to work out. Maybe they understand there's a floor of where he's being drafted, so why bother working out? You know, there's a lot of ways to unfortunately look at this, but it doesn't make any more of a crystal clear path for the Cleveland Browns and their intentions of what they plan on doing with pick number 2, even though I have my reservations, even though not my reservations, my beliefs, and all of you have your beliefs of what the Browns should do it too. For those of you not in the Carter camp, this certainly enhances your stance. For those of us in the Carter camp, it gives us, you know, certainly some questions to deal with that we were hoping that we would not have to deal with. So as far as the world of Abdul Carter, it just continues in this holding pattern. But again, Abdul Carter did not miss one game in his entire career at Penn State. He is big enough to play edge in the NFL. Let's not worry about that. Not only that, he is going to get bigger in his days and time in the NFL. The Browns are bringing in University of Kentucky defensive tackle Deion Walker on a top 30 visit. Absolutely love Walker's tape. Big guy, really can move kind of in a phone booth pretty well quickly. He's not an overall athlete. The relative athletic score will certainly give you a lot of pause because you're going to look at it, and one of the first things you're going to think of is Siaki Ika. Not the best feeling any Cleveland Browns fan wants. But you believe there is still certainly some interest in, one more defensive tackle for that room. I think as much as a lot of us think there's a lot of promise, and rightfully so, for Mike Hall, we don't know when we see Mike Hall. I'm not sure if we see him in camp. I'm not sure if we see him in September. Again, that's just something we don't have an answer to now. And the Browns certainly, need, certainly some help within the interior of their defensive line. The plane trackers are back, and look, I have no problem, with these accounts with this. Look, they're the ones trying to keep all of this fun, okay? So let's just have no issues with those guys, because I got to be honest, there's times where I'm in the middle of my day and it might be, going poorly, just my day overall, and I see stuff like that, and I get a slight giggle of it, but it's a fun aspect that comes to all these discussions and social media discourse that we are doing. And I think one of the things a lot of people, Jimmy, in, being involved here and going to meet with quarterbacks, I think for the most part, Jimmy Haslam has done a fantastic job in understanding that he is the owner of a professional football team. He is not a coach of a professional football team. He is not a front office man of a professional football team. But I don't disagree at all with Jimmy Haslam. The quarterback is the most important thing. And right now, with these whole Brook Park plans and obviously the stadium and all of that, Jimmy's hoping that that they find a guy soon who's going to be the guy that essentially is, the face of that stadium in Brook Park. So I'm not stunned that he's in Miami. I'm not stunned that he is in Oxford, Mississippi. I am not stunned that he has every intention to be out in Boulder, Colorado. In 2018, he was very much involved in meeting the rookie quarterbacks. Yeah, if he's playing for my team, and look, the front office can leave, the coaching staff can leave, the quarterback, ideally, the owner wants the quarterback to stay. And hopefully the quarterback and the owner have a longer relationship than anybody else. It'd be great if everybody else stuck around, but that's a lot of other moving parts. So Jimmy being involved, and then Jimmy being heavily involved in 2022, in regards to acquiring, Deshaun Watson. Again, this is a huge part, is the face of your franchise. Yeah, as an owner, I'm not saying I want to be involved, but I'd like to be there. I want to, kind of get a feel of this guy. Yes, there's the money aspect, but also I'm basically, this guy is going to be the face of my franchise. I want an idea on it. So I don't have an issue with him going and, getting to know these young men. In regards, is Tennessee serious when they say they would take 3 first-round picks and maybe give up round 1? And anybody who has the insider package with the OBR would know about the Tennessee Titans perhaps saying they would like 3 first-round picks to move off of the number 1 spot here in 2025. Do I believe them? I don't. Do I think anybody's going to call their bluff and offer them 3 first-round picks? I don't think so. Cleveland Browns will never offer 3 first-round picks for anybody again in their life, and rightfully so. You do that once, and it blows up in your face, you're not going that route a second time. Would the New York Giants give up 3 first-round picks with Russ Wilson, with Jameis Winston, and go acquire Cam Ward? I don't see them doing it either, because with everybody kind of being on the hot seat, certainly a lot of teams who are drafting high, that's the case if they have, their regime in place still, and it's not a new regime. Is ownership going to let you just blow the future? And what if it doesn't work? So you fire everybody and you got a quarterback that you don't think is good enough to be the face of your franchise. So I think Tennessee can say they want 3 1s, and it might just be as simple as, you always see those memes, would you take $80 million, but your sister's got to spend the next year in prison? Hell yeah, I would. Have fun in prison, sis. I'll take the 80 million. I'll break you off something when you get out of prison, but yeah, 80 million, but my sister's got to go to prison for a year? Sure, no problem. So, I think it feels like that's just one of those things, that you ask. Also, if you're Tennessee, what in the world did you hire young Callahan for? If you're going to wait till year 3 to get him a quarterback. Will Levis wasn't his guy. And now he's got to wait till his 3rd year to get his guy. You hold the number 1 selection. You have this head coach that, you obviously wanted. Year 1 certainly went piss poor. But now you have a chance to get the best quarterback in this class. I believe the Cam Ward thing is well done and over as far as him becoming a Tennessee Titan. I do also believe the NFL would love for all of us to believe that there is still some mystery around pick 1, pick 2. The NFL does not want to launch this NFL draft and all this coverage and all that is paid and all the ads and everything to have people say, well, we already know who the first 4 picks are. The league doesn't want that. The people are going to tune in anyway, but the league doesn't want that stuff out. So that's why, yes, Tennessee is going to also maybe meet with Shedeur Sanders. And let's see. That's still over a week away. So let's just see if that does truly happen. For Cleveland, meeting with Cam Ward after Cam Ward's pro day. Again, we're a month out. Something stupid could happen. Y'all remember, Laramie Tunsil was about to get selected, and all of a sudden a video went viral of Laramie Tunsil doing a bong rip with a gas mask on his face. And all of a sudden, things got really wonky within the draft. Anything can happen within the next month. So Tennessee going to meet with Shedeur. The Browns, and I do think the Jalen Milroe trip, I do think the Jackson Dart trip makes sense, but you do hold number 2. So yes, go meet with these guys. What if something changes? I'm not saying one way or the other, but something could tilt you late. It's not the norm. Usually by now, teams are kind of set in who they want and can they have them in the availability that they have to select them. That kind of stuff is usually kind of put to bed by now. But we are, certainly in a situation where the league does not want that information out. There still are some moving parts. Like I've told you, I think there's 2 players that I believe could be elite in this draft. One of them is Cam Ward, and it looks like for all signs that he will go number 1 overall to Tennessee. The other one, I believe, is Abdul Carter, and all that athleticism and a little bit more time playing the edge position, becoming into one of the top edge rushers in the NFL. But I haven't seen him work out yet, and we're still not sure where he's at with the injury. The foot, the shoulder, I don't know, is one more important than the other as far as like being legitimate, as far as where he stands on all this. Maybe we get some answers tomorrow. Maybe that combine recheck is happening, soon, I hope. But, still kind of in limbo here in regards to this. But look, and, my belief with the Abdul Carter selection, and again, why I am so high on it and what it could mean for this defense. What was it? 40-something sacks? I forget the number of what the Browns had last year. Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter together, possibly for 5 seasons. These 2 young men could possibly combine for 30 sacks in a season. Just the 2 of them. How are you guarding the other 2, 3 guys rushing the passer? How are you going to make that happen? If you're an offensive coordinator, this is your absolute worst nightmare. The Browns could have 2 pass rushers on the field who could be just as or as athletic than anybody on your offense. It's a sick, sick concept to have. To be an offensive coordinator and have to say, my God, what am I going to do? These guys have absolute freaks of nature coming at me from either side on the edge, maybe coming up the middle, one in the middle, one on the edge. It is an absolute kid in a candy store if you were Jim Schwartz, and the potential of crazy, sick things you could do with a Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter combination. Remember 2 years ago, week one against Cincinnati Bengals, when Myles kind of came with the basketball break off. Could you imagine these two standing in front of offensive guards and both of them doing it? And you still got McGuire on one edge. You got Joe Tryon on the other. Heck, maybe you got Alex Wright. That could be, you could have those 5 guys on the field at the same time in a nickel or dime situation. Oh my God, the fun of it all. So we're going to start moving off of just this talk of number 2, because come Monday, how many actual shows do we have left before we actually get to the draft? And, we got to talk about the quarterback room, Milroe, Dart, where do these guys equate into fitting in for this team? The running back room, the wide receiver room, the tight end room. I'll just say offensive tackle room, D-line, secondary. The Browns right now need 3 quarterbacks for training camp. The Browns right now need 3 running backs for training camp. The Browns right now need 1, most likely 2 wide receivers for training camp. The Browns need 2 tight ends right now for training camp. It's getting late early, and the Browns kind of need to start making some hay here and starting to figure some things out, because this draft is not going to give them everything they want. Now, one thing with Kirk Cousins, and I'm just going to go into this quickly because I did a spot earlier today for Sports for CLE. Now, the Cousins thing. Now, I do believe there's a belief the Browns could probably get this done before the draft if they wanted to. But again, in the sake of good television and keeping eyes glued in to the draft, there's probably a reason that it's a hold up with a month out to go. Because if the Browns know in their heart of hearts, or were to know in their heart of hearts, they are not going quarterback at 2. Maybe it's Carter. Maybe we're trading down. Maybe we have more interest in Milroe, Dart, or even Shedeur Sanders further down the trough than 2, because maybe they like him, but they don't love him, which means maybe 2 is too high for them, but 19, 20, et cetera, has a little bit more of appeal to them. Not saying they would trade back that far, saying they would trade back, select a player, then use some of that compensation to get themselves into a striking range for a Shedeur, for a Jackson Dart, for a Jalen Milroe. You tell that to Kirk Cousins now, maybe he does waive the trade clause. But then again, you say that, and all of a sudden the Browns trade for Kirk Cousins, which, while still holding 2, kind of hurts them a little bit in their bargaining stance. So, the Browns could trade out of 2 a few days before the draft, and then all of a sudden, yes, the Browns are making the move for Kirk Cousins, the other thing. But the NFL loves this. They love the daily shows talking about the NFL draft. They love the social media aspect of everything behind the NFL draft. They want that product to kill. So to have things be firm and in Sharpie a month ahead of the draft doesn't help the NFL. They don't need any help. They print money. But it does hurt them a little bit. And everything is about money with the NFL. And if they think there's anything that would hurt the overall product of the insane amount of NFL draft coverage between Thursday the 24th, Friday the 25th, and Saturday the 26th, it's just bad for business. Big news of the day. Abdul Carter, the word has come out. He will not work out at his pro day on March 28th, Friday at Penn State. He will be there. He will do meetings. Apparently will be measured, but that is all we're going to know from Abdul Carter. There could be workouts later in April. Abdul Carter still has a medical recheck in Indianapolis after he was flagged at the combine. All things to monitor in the Browns' pursuit of getting the best possible player they can with the number 2 overall selection in the 2025 NFL draft. I am Jeff Lloyd. This is Browns 3. It's been on the OBR. It's been brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. Again, super, super thankful to everybody. The outpouring for the written content. Everybody coming out every night here for the nightly streaming content. The OBR on YouTube, the OBR on Twitch. We thank you. We appreciate all of you. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. Browns 3D on the OBR. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow.